There is some very interesting momentum in Indian politics, and it's of course very important for any vibrant democracy. Leaders of 15-odd opposition parties met in Patna on the 23rd of June to chalk out plans to take on the Modi-led dispensation in 2024. Even as things were brewing for almost 6 odd months with regional satraps meeting and talking about a front to fight Modi's BJP, it's now coming to fruition with their second meeting planned in the cool climes of Shimla between 10th and 12th of July. What one knows is that this front will be called the Patriotic Democratic Front, or PDA. It may be recalled that in 2004, after the general elections, we saw this kind of momentum once again, when several opposition parties came together to fight a united front of the very dominant party, as it were. In Bihar, the RJD, JDU, the Congress and the left aligned together before the 2015 assembly polls to form a grand alliance, or what is called Mahagathbandhan. Now, the U word in this entire narrative is somewhat being challenged. And this was very evident on the very first day with the AAP questioning Congress over their support for the ordinance and so on and so forth. This, many feared, will only grow bigger even as the group hurtles towards 2024. This new group, that is the PDA, is also going to meet up in Shimla between the 10th and 12th of July, and we showed you archival footage of how this has been done once before. That was in 2003. Now let's deep dive into the political history of how alliances were formed, and many of them didn't even stay. The first one, as you see, Ram Manohar Lohia, great socialist leader, and non-congressism is something that he propagandized in 1967. Of course, after that he also passed away, and this is what in 1967 we first saw how India witnessed several parties, disparate parties, but with a one common minimum program, and that was to dislodge the Congress, as it were. That is the first leaf out of history that we are playing for you. More elaboration on that. Many opposition parties banded together in some states to beat, like I said earlier, Congress. This time, of course, it's changed. It's many disparate parties, including the Congress, which seems to be a monolithic party, which is now battle ready to take on the BJP in 2024. Now, Ram Manohar Lohia called the strategy non-congressism, which is, of course, anything which is devoid of any principles which were propagated by the Congress. Lohia played important role in forming first non-Congress government in Uttar Pradesh in 1967. Very unfortunate that he passed away immediately after that. He, of course, claimed that the Congress rule was undemocratic and against people's interest. Pretty much echoes what the Navnirman movement also did in Bihar, that is the Jayaprakash Loknaik, Jayaprakash Narayan's movement, where he said that if there is one anti-people's party, it is the Congress party, and the leader of that party being Indira Gandhi. So that is Ram Manohar Lohia, who actually wrote the first chapter of how alliances should be formed to challenge the hegemony of the Congress party in this country. Let's now debate about, whether this Patriotic Democratic Alliance, that is PDA, will sustain lots of challenges. But then who's one to know? Because, in a vibrant democracy, anything is possible, but most things sound very, very impossible. Look, I know you're laughing. And let me tell the audiences, PDA is not the PDA that we all understand, but then these days wars, any electoral war is also fought on social media platforms. Do you think there is going to be, of course, a joke about it? And also, very importantly, patriotic versus national. You know, there has been a lot of debate with these three words. Who is a nationalistic person? Who is a patriotic person? Do you think that will come up?
I think, that will come up, and I think this is the reason why the new acronym in the political circle is PDA, where the word patriot, the Congress as well as other opposition parties are going to use to counter the BJP's narrative, and that is the reason why this name has been accepted. Whether it succeeds or not, that remains a $1 million question to be seen. But I think, post Karnataka election, the Congress has been riding a bit high on its success, and they are sounding much more confident than they were before Karnataka. And I think the case in point is how they are dealing with Aam Aadmi Party here in Delhi, where we have been given to understand, according to our sources of our sister concern, that that Rahul Gandhi has also made it ample clear, after being at the receiving end of all the kind of accusations and threatening bites and all by Aam Aadmi Party, saying that if this is how Aam Aadmi Party intends to deal with us, so be it. We are not in any kind of desperation to join forces with them. So yes, a new acronym is in the block. A vast majority of them look like they can work together. But I think a lot of ironing out of differences and other opinions and all has to be made before one can say for sure that they are fit to take on NDA led by BJP.
But Brijesh, quickly before I go to the other guest, I also want to ask you that yesterday and the day before, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party was speaking about making sacrifices, and suddenly you see there is a turnabout, volte-face, as it were. What do you think must have caused this? Because
I think these are two different. You have to see it in the context. When Rahul Gandhi said that the party will make sacrifices, I think they were not talking about Aam Aadmi Party or others. What they meant was that in the state of Uttar Pradesh as well as in Bihar, where the BJP was in alliance with the parties, the parties which were in power, rather the more powerful party, in Uttar Pradesh it was Samajwadi Party, in Bihar it was RJD and JDU. They were very uncomfortable with the approach of the Congress party, which was punching above their weight, demanding more seats than they can win on their own. And this was something, this was a constant friction. And one of the key demand of key political, key regional affiliates was, like, be it Mamata Banerjee or be it RJD or be it Samajwadi Party and all, was that Congress has to reassess its power, reassess its strength, and then come up with a fair numbers, so that that they can be meeting of mind and not just shoot off any number just because they were in power for such a long time. So when Rahul Gandhi used the word sacrifice, he used the word in that context. With Aam Aadmi Party, I think the newfound confidence after Karnataka is, as I said, is in full display, and they are saying that if you don't respect our leaders, if you keep on berating us or using this kind of language, it doesn't matter whether you are with us or not. We won't support your ordinance thing.
All right. Professor Badri Narayan, let me come to you first. Professor Badri Narayan, Tiwari, I just want to ask you that, there was a time when the Congress, had its hegemony. It was the most dominant party. And then that ended. And who ended it? Modi's BJP. I keep calling it Modi's BJP because I think, and you are an expert here, there is a big difference between Modi's BJP and, let's say, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's BJP. Do you think that this entire thing about, Patriotic Democratic Alliance, which they are speaking about, which is coming into fruition, do you think it's once again a Don Quixote kind of a thing, charging at the windmills? Or do you think that this is the correct political moment to actually do something like this?
I think you raised a very right question, and but I would like to say that the Congress displaced not because of BJP, but because of PSP, because of Dalit movements. Dalit and Brahmin were the base of the Congress. Dalit went towards PSP, and Kashiram built up his party in North India from the base of the Congress. Dalit Congress who were the Dalit, base of the Dalits who were the Congress. So that's one point I would like to say here. Secondly, you are very right that Modi NDA or Modi-led political BJP and the PDA, they have to contest in coming time in 2024 election. And opposition is started mobilizing itself in right time. I think they have to start it much earlier. I think they are late, I like to say. And they are trying to explore their new diction of doing politics. That is the patriotic term which they brought to counter NDA. nationalist or nationalism kind of paradigm on which BJP works. But this is the agenda of the match, or the maidan of the match, or the terms and conditions of the match is set by the BJP, and you are responding to that. In that, you are appearing as a second player. So in
Right.
that, BJP has an edge in setting the narrative. Third thing is that what Rajesh was rightly saying, that creating synthesis between various interests of the opposite interests, which are coming in clash or in conflict in making the opposition unity, that will sustain and continue for longer time. And here one has to see how Rahul Gandhi, how Congress is going to address and respond to this kind of conflicts, in spite of saying using the term and words sacrifice. And BJP under the Modi is a very imaginative party in a way. They are inventing their strategies every day. As we know,
Right.
they do 4 into 7, the politics. And politics is not only non-imaginative conventional politics, but imaginative and very new politics. The way Modi is working every day, and that makes the mentality of the voters in India.
Right.
So it's very difficult to contest BJP-led Modi in coming time. And Karnataka election, as you said, yes, it has created hope in the opposition. But I say sometimes that it's a big marichika. Karnataka election has created big marichika mirage for the opposition. That mirage is good also. It's a hope for doing better. But it can also create a fallacy. And that
Right.
fallacy may create a situation in which they will lose their strategy may be weakened in
Yeah.
coming days.
So, Professor Tiwari spoke about Ramayana. So, Amitabh Tiwari, I'm going to come to you and, use something from the Mahabharata and ask that, will the Congress be Dadich, in the sense, the story of it, where it's a great story of sacrifice. Do you think the Congress party, because already the murmurs are there, Congress is monolithic in this entire narrative of things, will it make the sacrifice to say, all right, let's grin and bear it, let's make the sacrifices? Do you expect that out of the Congress party?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of debate on whether Congress needs to make sacrifice and show a big heart. On the contrary, if you see, I mean, it is my feeling, and also a section of the Congress itself, that the regional parties need to make sacrifices, because the regional parties do not have presence outside their home state. So they cannot demand seats from Congress in states like MP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan. Whereas Congress, whatever votes it has today, 5%, 10%, 15, 20%, even in states like UP, Bengal, it has something. So then it by logic needs to have seats in alliance in those states. So what is the sacrifice which we are discussing about? So that is a big debate in Congress, whether they need to make the sacrifice or the regional parties need to make the sacrifice, more so because it is a national election. Now, coming to the narrative of it, because elections are about narrative. So while narrative, the opposition is trying to seize the narrative, optically it looks good that there are 15, 16 parties who are coming together to outthrow the BJP government in power. However, a lot of importance also is being given, I think, unnecessarily to this opposition unity or alliance, because opposition unity, I think, is already in place in 150 odd seats. Is Shiv Sena or is JDU not already part of the Congress-led alliance at the center, and even in states like Bihar or Maharashtra? So
All
they have
right.
already power. They are already allies. Many of the regional satraps have not come. Mayawati, Naveen Patnaik, KCR, Jagan, etc. So in 100 odd seats, it's not possible only. 150, it is already there. 100 odd seats, it's not possible. And in 130 seats, where there is a direct BJP versus Congress contest, like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan,
Right.
largely Gujarat also, there is no need for an opposition unity. So this leaves on the table only around 150 tricky seats, which are in West Bengal, UP, Assam, and Haryana, to have some sort of
Yeah,
understanding.
because, yeah,
And here
Amitabh, because even
also,
in West Bengal, Brijesh,
yeah,
Amitabh, it's just the left and the Mamata. I mean, I
yeah,
think that wherever there are two big parties fighting, it will be very, very tricky for anybody, for this kind of an opposition unity to come up and try and do something. The thing is that, look, I somehow feel that the entire narrative starts with Congress's fabulous win in Karnataka. They've had a fabulous victory. There are no two ways about it. So I somehow feel that the BJP today, I'm not saying that the PDA has come up because of this, but also because of this, that somehow the BJP looks rather weakened, which happens to the best of political parties after a brilliant run. So do you think the BJP has been weakened? And also, if you read several experts, they are saying, look at the BJP, it's not like they don't have a chink in their armor. I mean, their oldest allies, they've lost all of them to the Parivar, whether it is the Shiromani Akali Dal, Shiva Sena, or the JDU, Rajalakshmi. So somewhere the BJP is kind of diluted than it was ever before.
Sudhaji, what you're saying is true, that after the Karnataka elections, the Congress has become more confident, but the Congress's expectations have also raised, and the Congress's approach has changed quite a lot. But at the same time, the BJP definitely, they have introspected, and they are definitely looking at what went wrong, and there is this huge approach to connect with everybody. Like, there is this Vishesh Jan Sampark Abhiyan going on with the BJP. So where, especially after all these elections, Nadda ji had spoken about how everybody should be reaching out to every single person, every single household. So the BJP is definitely not taking things easy. But at the same time, just very thought, the only vision and the only thought that is there in all these people's minds is how to defeat the BJP, only makes the BJP look even more stronger, and it makes the BJP assume a much more stronger position, because then all these people, they don't seem to have any other vision, any other agenda, they don't seem to have any other thing on their
But then,
mind other than how
but
to
then,
get rid of the BJP.
yeah, but
So you
Rajalakshmi, that is the single
the BJP.
that is the single purpose, no? If we are going to 2024 and I'm standing, in elections opposite you, then my whole focus will be to kind of, vanquish Rajalakshmi and vice versa. I mean, why would I look hither and thither? I'll be like Arjun again, Mahabharat, that fish and that eye of the fish.
But then you should, what you're saying is right in a way, but at the same time, the people need to know what exactly are these people offering instead of the BJP.
Right.
For
So
them
that,
to let me
yeah, you're right.
what are they
Yeah.
offering?
That's right, but that will
That has to
become
be
clearer as they hurtle towards 2024, and we'll have to wait and see. Manasvi, the thing is that I want to ask you one very, very straight question, and we are going to really discuss this let's have a very, very focused debate. Will they be able to field a common candidate in places where they are fighting with each other? Now, because Amitabh Tiwari actually touched upon tricky seats, because this is not just about chemistry, this is about arithmetic as well. We were speaking about the great Ram Manohar Lohia, and I say great because I'm a great votary and I respect him a lot. But when he stood Brijesh in Farrukhabad, if you may recall, Janasangh saw to it that they fielded a candidate against him, and they were together before that. This is the tragedy of alliances, and that's what happened. I mean, you saw this entire poof go up in air. So I'm asking you, is that going to be possible in PDA?
Sudhaji, this is very interesting to see because alliances have happened in the central stage from 1971, from the Grand Alliance till today, the PDA, the so-called PDA. What is more interesting is to see that it is not a Congress-led alliance. I would say that this is a BJP betrayed alliance. So all the political parties have been betrayed by BJP at a very long and a larger extent. From Mamata Banerjee to Nitish Kumar to Uddhav Thackeray, these were the strongholds of NDA. With the making of BJP, earlier BJP was a small brother in their respective states. But with the eventual entry of Narendra Modi ji in the political center stage, what happened was that BJP became a bigger player, and then NDA became a small player in this whole political arena. So coming down to what is happening right now is it's the common minimum program of how do we collectively make sure that BJP does not come into power. Why? Of the simple reasons that how have they made sarkars where they didn't even have one single MLA at their place? How they made sure that there were the largest number of turncoats in the history of Indian political arena happened in the last 9 years. That people from one political party have jumped into only one particular major party is BJP. This have never happened in an independent India. So this is a very important thing. And when this comes to the survival, it's a survival instinct for most of the regional political parties. So definitely I feel when it comes to single candidates at single places, all have to play together to make sure that the bigger player, the biggest in the Indian political player is the BJP. To make sure that they get defeated, they
Yeah, but
have to
that's,
stand
yeah, I
together.
know, but that's idealistic, right? Political parties work on stitching up alliances, stitching up coalitions. So we'll have to wait.